Edition of The Brief live on my Media Prime Television, the very first edition of the program after the reform that was carried out. We shall be with you in the next 1 hour to dwell on some of the major headlines as relayed by newspapers. We shall also take you to Nsah, where the population say they want their land back from PCC. We shall get the response of the population and authorities of the PCC Church in Nsah, in the southwest region of the country. Bomotonguina, Gwladys is here with us. Let us visually find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha, bonjour à vous et merci de rester fidèle à Debrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur ma Media Prime Télévision. Alors, pour la première édition de ce programme de 1 heure, nous allons débuter avec le journal Vision économique, lui qui nous parle du recouvrement des impôts, des taxes et impôts au Cameroun, fin de la recette pour tous les insolvables. C'est du moins ce qu'a intitulé le journal Vision économique ce matin, avec plus de 2500 milliards de recettes non pétrolières à l'immobilier en 2022, année budgétaire cumulée impactée par la guerre en Ukraine. La Direction générale des impôts est résolue à optimiser toutes ces recettes cumulées dans cette année budgétaire de 2022. Les détails sont donc en page 7 de ce journal Vision économique. En page 3, le journal nous parle d'introduction en bourse. 3 États de la CEMAC manquent donc encore à l'appel. Les détails sont donc effectivement en page 3 de ce journal Vision économique. Nous poursuivons ce matin, mesdames, messieurs, avec le journal La Nouvelle Expression qui nous parle d'éducation au Cameroun. La reprise des grèves des enseignants est donc en vue. Le mouvement des enseignants, on a trop supporté, menace de reprendre l'opération Crémotte dès le 25 avril prochain. OTS l'a fait savoir sur ses plateformes numériques. Le gouvernement est donc interpellé. Les détails sont en page 2 de ce journal La Nouvelle Expression. En page 7, le journal La Nouvelle Expression nous parle de la récurrence de pornographie dans les établissements scolaires au Cameroun. Le système éducatif est donc au tribunal. En page 3, le journal nous parle d'univers carcéral, les misères d'un journaliste. Il nous présente ici les misères d'un journaliste en prison au Cameroun. Nous continuons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Le Messager, lui qui nous parle de la hausse du prix du pain Cameroun, la baguette magique du docteur Maïs. En effet, éminent scientifique, le regretté mémoire, le docteur de Charles a développé de son vivant une vingtaine de variétés hybrides de maïs adaptées aux diverses zones agroéconomiques du Cameroun. Les détails sont donc en page 4 de ce journal. Dans le journal Le Messager, à sa page 3, le journal nous révèle que la succession à la chefferie Bangou est donc un camouflet pour le ministre de l'administration territoriale à Tangandi. En page 2, le journal nous parle de droits de l'homme, nouveau défi pour le WILF au Cameroun. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons donc ce matin avec le journal Le Mutation, lui qui nous parle de Françoise Poinet, qui nous parle ici de ses pleurs, de ses joies lors de l'organisation de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations. En effet, le PDG d'un hôtel à Yaoundé ayant hébergé des officiels de la CAF et la sélection du Zimbabwe, elle relate donc ses joies et misères. Elle déclare notamment attendre le règlement intégral de sa dette par l'État. Les détails sont donc en page 8 et 9 de ce journal Mutation quotidien. Mesdames, Messieurs, en page 5, le journal nous révèle que le docteur Olivia Dissongo a présenté donc son film, le film de son enlèvement. Nous clôturons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Cameroun Tribune, lui qui nous parle de distribution de ciment au Cameroun, intitulé en grand titre « Halte à la spéculation ». Les détails sont donc en page 8 et 9 de ce journal Cameroun Tribune. Mesdames, messieurs, c'est ici que nous arrêtons pour ces titres en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you so much, Bomotonguina. Gwladys, let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is focusing on the outing of Minister Paul Atanganji that was in Yaoundé recently. Paul Atanganji says over 110,000 IDPs have returned home. The Minister of Territorial Administration of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Atanganji, has disclosed that so far a total number of 110,000 IDPs or inhabitants of the northwest and southwest regions who fled the armed conflict in the regions to live as internally displaced persons, IDPs in other safe regions, have returned to their areas of origin. The Minad boss made the disclosure Thursday, April 14. That was in Yaoundé. He was speaking while officially launching the 2022 Humanitarian Response Plan, HRP, in Yaoundé. More details on page 3 of this edition of the Set newspaper. Let's talk about 7 persons who have been presented to the public over the kidnap of a medical doctor in Douala. The 7 persons suspected to have been or to have masterminded the kidnap of Douala-based medical doctor, Dr. Olivier Dasongo Joki, have been arrested and presented to the press. The suspects were nabbed by the judicial police officials or officers in the city. And according to the reports by Police Commissioner Henri Sama, the suspects with oldest aged 25 were arrested on Sunday, April 17, 2022 at the Kam Yabasi neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision. More details in this edition of the Set newspaper. Let's talk about this other headline that has to do with cement sector in the country. Trade Minister warns cement producers and distributors against illegal price hikes. And the Minister of Trade, Luke Magua Banga Tangana, has warned cement producers as well as distributors against any inflation of prices in the sector. The trade boss gave the same warning during a meeting that was chaired in Yaoundé with the stakeholders in the cement sector. That was on April 13, 2022 in Yaoundé, the political capital of Cameroon. Let's take you to the Sun newspaper to talk about the DDR center in Bamenda, where the boss has spit fire. According to the paper, DDR Northwest boss spit fire says DDR is not politics. He warned elites from the northwest region and called on them to return home and talk peace rather than giving wrong information to the President of the Republic that all is well in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country. He said he is not happy with what the elites or politicians from the northwest region are doing. They're using the center for their political gains rather than giving the right information as bloodshed continues in the northwest region of the country. Ondian conference holds this weekend. All roads lead to Mundemba, writes the Sun newspaper. PM's home division seeks an end to armed conflict and sustainable development in the Indian division of the southwest region of the country. We end with Eco Sante newspaper this morning. Eco Sante is focusing on the health situation or the health situation of the population of the conflict zones in the country. This time around, bringing to light the efforts of the Red Cross in giving medical care to the affected population of the conflict-stricken regions of the country. More details in this edition of Le Quotidien Eco Sante newspaper. Eco Sante is also reporting about malnutrition in West and Central Africa, where at least 900,000 children are at risk of malnutrition in West and Central Africa. Thank you for watching, televiewers on My Media Prime. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions, and joining us this morning are 2 gentlemen, one from the nation's political capital and the other one from London. Maitre Alex Ndive and Elvis Bane, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys, and good morning to televiewers. It's always a pleasure to be on your program, and I'm happy to see Mr. Elvis too on the program. Thank you very much.
Elvis, welcome too.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha, and to Gwladys with you there in the studio. Good morning to Maitre. I should also say it's a pleasure sharing this platform with him. Good morning to all viewers of My Media. I think it's another opportunity you are granting us this morning to be able to examine political issues that can help our nation forge forward. Thank you for that opportunity, Mr. Lasha.
I threw the question to you both this morning. The Guardian Post newspaper is revisiting the outing of Minister Paula Tanganji while launching the humanitarian year 2022 that was in Yaoundé. Tanganji revealed that over 110,000 IDPs have so far returned home. How convinced are you with these statistics given by Minister Paula Tanganji?
Mr. Lasha, I don't know, you should be putting a question to who wants to speak first. But however, I will go first. Don't put us in a difficult situation.
However, right on.
I've seen the Guardian Post, what Mr. Tanganji said. We know how the government operates. We know the modus operandi of the government. We saw them when they were bringing some refugees from Nigeria. We saw the display at the international airport. This time we are not seeing anything. So we don't know, we are not sure if he's telling the truth or not. And what I'm very concerned, when a minister of territorial administration should come and say, we are launching a humanitarian response plan. Humanitarian response plan is being launched by international community, not by a government who have a duty to protect their people, to provide leadership, to provide economic assistance and other things. So Mr. Tanganji should not be using that word. Furthermore, he said, we are working towards development because the government cannot assist the people forever. The job of the government is to assist the people forever. I'm begging Mr. Bia on this platform, he should stop putting Anglophones who don't understand their job description, who are disgracing us. Because Mr. Tanganji does not understand his function as a minister of territorial administration. Furthermore, he said, the past 2 years, Mr. Bia have disbursed, is it 20 billion? Mr. Bia hasn't got money. It's taxpayers' money. The government have disbursed money. Mr. Tanganji must choose his word very, very carefully.
Okay, Maitre. Evis, how convinced are you with these statistics given by Minister Paula Tanganji, knowing fully well that things are not actually returning to normal? There are still some communities in the northwest and southwest that are still, plagued with the conflict. For example, in Bui Division, where several government officials were killed recently, talking about Northwest boss for penitentiary administration and 3 others.
If I have to comment with respect to what the minister said, I will relate you back to what the boss of the DDR Center in Bamenda said in his recent outing, where he cautioned the Anglophone elite to be careful when they come to Yaoundé and they tell lies with respect to what is happening in the Northwest, Southwest regions, claiming that things are returning to normalcy. You will understand that when people like Minister Tanganji come out, the truth is that some of them simply just want to make themselves relevant by at least saying something, and then the papers pick it up and
no, but he has been working. If he says
when you talk about statistics of 110 people, 110,000 ITPs returning, just like Metro was saying, what is there to prove? Because we know how this government functions. If it was a reality, we should have seen them with media trying to show us images of people who have gone back to their different localities to settle. But he just
but Evis, let me interrupt you, Evis. Let me interrupt you. When the government officials brandish these persons on the media, you guys say those people are not the real refugees. So what are you saying? You complain when they brandish them, and when they don't, you still complain.
It is not a matter of us complaining. It's a matter of us simply analyzing the situation at hand, knowing how our government functions. Mr. Lasha, we are in Cameroon, we are Cameroonians, and this region has been with us for as old as 40 years. There are a people who never say anything that is right without something to back up what they are saying. And like I say, Minister Tanganji could not have taken the risk to announce 100, and at least if they cannot brandish the people, they should even start the different communities where those people have been able to return back to those localities.
No, but people are actually returning. People are actually returning. From my investigation, I have some communities where people have actually returned, and they are residing in those communities. But I'm not convinced. I'm not talking about the figures. I'm talking about the people I know who have returned. I'm not talking about Minister Paula Tanganji's 110,000 as figures.
Your experience Cameroonians as a journalist, as an investigative journalist, from your how many thousands have been able to return. That is where the problem lies. When Minister Atani talks about 110,000 people returning, that is the problem. Where does he get his figures from, and what is there to prove what he's saying? Nobody can verify what he's saying, because he comes, announces, and he ends at what the minister has said, but there is nothing to verify on the ground to confirm what he's saying. And I'm saying they should even set us the localities. I, for one, here, I'm a journalist. Some of us can also go down to the field and investigate to know that, yes, in this community, this number of thousands left and this number of thousands have to come back. That's why I said to recommend, I will take you back to what the person of the DDR said, that we have Anglophone elite in this country, those who are on the eating table, who simply come on media because they have that opportunity, and they lie to the people without anything to showcase what they are saying. People who go there, like he said, overnight in armored cars, hold meetings in hidings, and then come back to say peace has returned. We know that there is insecurity in that part of the country. Some few processes.
This weekend, there will be what the paper terms All-Indian Conference to try and find out a lasting solution to the crisis in the southwest region, where, of course, I'm talking about the Anglophone crisis. That's the division of origin of the Prime Minister of the Republic of this country. And so, Ndian sons and daughters, as well as other goodwill Cameroonians, will be converging on Ndian this weekend for development and peace. What do you have to say to that? Yes.
Before I dive on that topic, I want to make it clear, not long ago, our Honorable Prime Minister was in Southwest dancing that he's going to collect message from the people to go back to Mr. Bia. He was in Northwest doing the same thing. We are still waiting. He has taken the information from the people. He took them to Yaoundé. He hasn't come back to us. What did Mr. Bia say?
But he's not a master. He took the message to his master. If the master has not acted on the message, how is it the fault of the Prime Minister?
No, if you say it's the fault, he took it to his master. Mr. Lasha, I will tell you, I will never work in an organization that I'm not capable of operating as an independent person. He is a Prime Minister. He is the head of government. That's his position. I don't care if he has power. He chooses to be in that position. Going back to the All-Indian Conference, that reminds me about 5 years ago, I organized an All-Southwest Conference in London. It was a problem. The aim was, they were saying, Southwesterners, all Southwest Conference, they were saying Southwest, they were not participating in the struggle. I tried to bring them in, and I had a lot of problem. I had it in Belgium. So after 5 years, it's now that the Ndian people, they know they can have a conference. How can just the people of Ndian go to Ndian and decide the problem of Northwest and Southwest? It's not possible. We should stop this window dressing exercise. We know what to do if we want to solve the Anglophone problem. If we want to solve the Anglophone problem, everyone has to be involved. Everyone in Northwest and Southwest. We have to sit and talk together. Each time they want to have money or they want to take money from taxpayers, they say we are organizing this conference, they have to allocate money in that occasion. That is how people steal money in Cameroon. I know that for a fact. If you want to organize or solve the Anglophone problem, involve everyone. We should know, it doesn't matter whether you're a criminal, whether you call yourself Amber, criminals are still Cameroonians. So they have to look into this matter carefully and bring everyone together, and let's talk as a family, not about Ndian, because the next time, I'm sure Elvis too will go and organize his own conference where it comes from. Me too, I will organize my own, then it will be just be entropy. So let's come together.
If he can bring peace, if he can bring peace, Maitre, is it not worth? If he can bring peace.
The problem in Northwest and South, the problem in Northwest and Southwest is simple to me. Is that we want our own institutions. We don't want institutions that were inherited from France, like ENAM, École Normale Supérieure, Military Tribunal, unelected GOs and governors. We know the problem. We don't even need to have a conference to solve this problem. The Prime Minister can sit in his office and say, okay, let's have English institution in Northwest and Southwest, French institution in the French region. The problem will be solved.
Okay, Maître Gwladys.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Maître. Alors, ici, on a une potentielle reprise de grève des enseignants. Le journal La Nouvelle Expression nous en parle ce matin. Ils ont promis de reprendre la crémante d'ici le 25 avril si le gouvernement ne revient pas à résoudre leurs problèmes intégralement.
The Frankenstein monster, when you go and bring cosmetic solutions on certain things, issues, when there's a problem in Cameroon, instead of looking into the matter, make a commission to see how come that teachers have not been receiving their salaries for 10 years. The president just go and sign something, I'll pay the money. You have not solved the problem. We want to know how come that people like Hamidu should die without receiving their salary. On the basis of the problem has not been solved. I'm asking the government to go back to the drawing board, or else this will turn into another problem.
Okay, Maître, let's talk about the press conference of the Public Independent Conciliator for the Northwest Region, Tamfu Simon Fai. He revealed that a lot of complaints have been tabled, at the level of his office, and most of the complaints, according to him, are land and chieftaincy complaints. And he said that his office is not competent to resolving such a problem. Many people are wondering, what is actually the role of the Public Independent Conciliator? You are a lawyer, and you were part of the Major National Dialogue, and most of the decisions were taken at the Major National Dialogue in resolving the Anglophone crisis. Are we duplicating functions?
I will tell you, in the National Dialogue, we were just there as an observer. Before we went there were already 8 commissions, so we're not really part of nothing. There was no discussion.
But at least what they brought to you guys, at least you saw what was brought to you guys. You read, at least you read through what was agreed, as you are saying.
Nothing was good. I'm just telling you, there were 8 commissions, and it was a fait accompli. So there was nothing there. I did my best by protesting there. That's just what I did. However, these people, most of them, they know that when they give them a job, they don't have hours. Why do they take those jobs? That's my problem. They know. All of us, we know in Cameroon that everything comes from A to D. Even if you are a prime minister, a minister, we saw the Minister of National Education, he hasn't got power. Former Vice President of Cameroon, Foncha, once said, they were just there as Prime Minister receiving their money. They had nothing to do. So most of those jobs, you are just playing to the gallery. The people running Cameroon, let me tell you the truth, I know them. There are some young boys close to Mr. Bia. They are not even ministers. Everything in Cameroon comes from A to D. So if you're a minister, you're just there to try to make a window dressing exercise or to the gallery. They don't have power. I know that. And to be honest, the earlier some of these people start resigning from their position, that I cannot function as this.
So you are telling me that there's a shadow cabinet, or there's a small group that is giving out the instruction for those who are in public offices.
I met them in the National Dialogue. When I was talking there, they were looking at me with their suit. I said, you're trying to follow my conversation. They were laughing. Could see them how they dress and what. They are young boys. They come from a certain group of people.
Okay.
Kabar, they are the one. They are the ministers.
Okay.
They are the ministers. They are the one running Cameroon. It's not the ministers. When we were in Cameroon, there was a problem in Montfeber Hotel. Somebody have to stay there one more night. They have to call the presidency in order for the person to stay there one more night. It's to the controlling Cameroon. The ministers, the parliamentarians, they are just wasting taxpayers' money. We don't need them.
Okay, Maître, let us take you both now to Nsah, where the local population, they are claiming, or they say they want their land back from the Presbyterian Church. And we want to have the responses of the population and the church authority in, church authorities in that part of the country. Let's have the 2 responses as proposed by our producers.
Inasmuch as we thank and praise the Presbyterian Church for what they have done so far to develop Nsah, we seem to be witnessing a period of abandonment. Nsah appears to be a veritable nursery for Presbyterian Church projects. When they mature, they are taken away. Such was the case of PTTC. the Theological College, and P.S. Nyasoso. Thanks to Reverend Asanji, P.S. Nyasoso came back. The Presbyterian General Hospital, for which the people of Nyasoso in 1988 contributed 2 million francs, is now a shadow of itself. It started off with 2 resident medical doctors and a college of nurses. The hospital was attended by many from far and near and talked about everywhere. Today, we have just 1 doctor and a couple of nurses. Dr. Amaku's brainchild, Nyasoso Annex, based at Bebanda Douala, has now grown more than the main hospital, and the name Nyasoso has disappeared. For more than a century, vast land was given to the PCC for development. Till date, not even a quarter of it has been put into use. Instead, the church abandoned all that, went to Kumba and bought land where the seminary was transferred. However, we are praying for the PCC to give back some of the land for the people of Nyasoso to open up a new layout.
That was the reaction of the home branch president of Nyasoso Cultural and Development Association, giving his reaction as to what is happening when it comes to land. Let's take the reaction of church authority regarding the matter. Tebong, let's have it.
Friend Metuge Francis Njume. I'm the parish pastor of Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, Nyasoso Congregation Parish. Yeah, following the speech made by the Nyakuda Home Branch President concerning what the church has done to Nyasoso, that the church has not done enough, I will begin by saying that the church has done so much for the people of Nyasoso, most especially for this community. Because if not of the church, the community could have been what they are today as far as development is concerned, both spiritually, academically, infrastructurally, developmental-wise, in all ways. Because the missionaries were the first to come to this area and to start development. You can look at it, even most of the structures that you have, there are sound structures. Structures that were built in 1900, they are still the test of time. What he is saying is not correct, because the Presbyterian Church has developed Nyasoso in so many ways. First, they built a college which they handed to the government, which now hosts the government high school Nyasoso. Those structures are still there. They are not taking it. They are still there for the people of Nyasoso to use them. And they are able to educate many Nyasoso people. Many of them who are in top positions today, they were being trained by the mission. Coming to the aspect of hospital, they were the first to establish a health center here in all of this. No, they are not aware. They are not aware. I was just surprised to hear it today in their speech. Yes, nothing has been, no complaint has been written to the church. So we are not.
That was Reverend Jume, the parish pastor for PCC Nyasoso, reacting to the speech that was made by the home president of that Development and Cultural Association there in the Southwest region. Let me go straight to Mbane Evis. Mbane, every day we keep having issue coming up with the church and the land. From Catholic Church, we are now with the Presbyterian Church. Why is this happening repeatedly?
Well, Mr. Lasha, permit me begin by saying I didn't get both reports, so my reaction may not be directly connected to what they said in that report, because I didn't get any of them due to volume issues. But now, when you talk about land issues that we constantly get complaints of in our society, be it church today, the Presbyterians, and even some of the Pentecostals that are coming up. What I would simply say is that government really needs to step in and take a keen look into this issue, because the churches today in the society are proving to be very, very greedy when it comes to landed issues. In most cases, we have seen them in some situations, or they have been accused in some situations where they even go as far as faking land documents to have access to thousands upon thousands of acres of land that naturally does not belong to them. So I can simply say here that it is a situation that only goes a long way to expose.
But should the church be doing this? Should the church be doing this? The church that the society look up to?
That is why I say that it is going a long way just to expose the churches to the face of the world, because we do not understand why it should always be the church who is in conflict with the people over their land. You see, and we know that in most cases it is not the people who come to meet the land, it is the church that comes to meet the people. You see, the church comes to meet the people, and in the long run, you find them with some exorbitant, should I say, some vast acres of land that they claim to belong to them, and you cannot, in most cases, actually trace how they got to possessing those pieces of land. And that's why I can simply say here that government needs to step in and actually take a keen look into such situations. When a church comes somewhere, at least there should be a proper follow-up as to what piece of land they get and how they even go about getting that piece of land before they settle there. Unfortunately, like I say, I cannot comment with respect to what those reports said, because I didn't get them due to some technical issues. So that, I think that's what I can say.
Elvis, à ce niveau-ci, on ne peut pas avoir un terrain sans toutefois que peut-être les chefs ou les responsables de l'administration territoriale sur la terre ne vous donnent l'autorisation. Est-ce que ces églises ont pu avoir ces terres sans toutefois avoir l'autorisation des chefs et des autorités administratives? Je parle ici des sous-préfets et préfets.
Là, vous commencez à toucher sur des points bien sensibles. Vous savez, quand vous parlez des autorités administratives et même des chefs traditionnels, il faut déjà aussi comprendre que certains de ces chefs traditionnels sont parfois complices avec les églises et même nos autorités administratives d'un côté. Ça veut dire donc quoi? Les églises viennent parfois, les monnaies, les paient, vous voyez un peu, les corrompre, et puis ils donnent accès à du terrain à ces églises-là sans toutefois consulter la population. Raison pour laquelle, à la longue, on voit ces mêmes gens revenir donc maintenant pour réclamer ce qui leur revient de droit. So, we have administrative authorities who are corrupt. We cannot really quite trust them. We have some of the local chiefs themselves who are in complicity with all of this. And it tells you therefore that, like I said earlier, it only exposes the church, because the churches today have proven to be even more corrupt than even the government that we are criticizing today. Because you cannot go into a place, meet the that no one can justify how you got the individual operation we have taking documents to have claims on to lay claims on certain piece of land. So the churches are corrupt. The administrative authorities are responsible in one way or the other, and at some point in time, even traditional authorities too are involved. But now it's unfortunate that we may call on government to step in, but if the government needs to step in through the same corrupt officials, then it becomes a problem, because at the end of the day, the real victim remains the common man, because once those authorities have been bribed with their traditional authorities involved, then at the end of the day, the land will always end up in the hands of the churches. You know that even when we go at the level of the court, we know how it happens. Once those guys are already involved, the authorities in it, then we know that at the end of the day, the church can always find its way through. But I say it is very, very regrettable that such battles over landed issues, over worldly things, if I put it that way, should be coming from institutions that were supposed to show morality to the society. That is the churches in particular.
Okay, Maitre Alex, you listened to the two responses coming from the home branch president and the parish pastor there regarding land in Nsah.
I was in the same position like Mr. Elvis. It was difficult to listen to what they were saying. But however, I was trying to get you on another device a little bit, but I understand what they're talking about. But we should understand, what is a church? A church is there to educate people morally, and it concerns God and religion. But to be honest, I will tell you this, ever since I was a boy, in those days of Reverend Hansen, Mr. Ekiti, and now the current moderator, People don't know that the Presbyterian Church is as corrupt as the government of Cameroon. Not too long ago, Dr. Dorothy Njoma resigned as he had a position in PCC. He resigned because of corruption. They use the word of God to hide their evil. And to be honest,
are you not too harsh? Are you not too harsh on the church when you say the church, the PCC is corrupt? In what sense are you talking about?
Jesus Christ was too harsh, that's why he was killed. The truth hurts always. So I'm not being harsh. I'm here to speak the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I'm not here to sugarcoat any person. The Presbyterian Church is very corrupt. When I left Boyalise Moluka, I went to CBC Bali. I knew a certain people, they became principal owning colleges, private colleges. We know those things, but the problem is the people are silent. Most of us, we don't want to talk. When we see these things, either because it's my friend or my brother or I'm profiting from it, we keep quiet. Sometimes our society, our country reflect who we are. When we sit, we promote corruption, we are afraid to talk. That's why our society has deteriorated in what we can call today a country that I cannot recognize, because when we talk about land issue, we don't know how they own land in Cameroon. I don't know why SDOs, DOs, governors, they should get involved. There's something you call in most developed countries. You have a land registry. It has got nothing to do with these politicians. If you want to buy a land, those things are, there's a clear record there. It's in the land registry, you know what to do. In Cameroon, it's a land business. The chiefs, the DOs, and everything. In Cameroon, I know, not all, even lawyers today in Cameroon, they will have, instead of going to court, to go and settle it with the procureur and governor. So the system is so confused in that country. To be honest, I don't even know how Cameroon is being run, because people are in position. They say they don't know if they have powers, they have power to solve the problem. Why are you there? So the church have mingled into politics. To me, church is part of politics. I know what's going on in the Presbyterian Church. I know names. The Catholic Church is not different, right from the Vatican. So most of these people, they use religion. I'm sure they are worse than the government, because a religious institution should teach us morality, but that's not what they are doing. And it's really confusing, to be honest. I can't say I sit where I am today, I look at Cameroon, I don't understand. If, as Mr. Elvis said, if the government cannot intervene and solve this problem, we are heading somewhere that we are going to regret one day, because it's better to try to solve a problem before it escalates.
Okay, Netra, one last question from Bomotonguina, Gwladys, before we call it quits for today.
Effectivement, maître, on a ici Françoise Poinet, plus connue sous le nom de Mami Nyanga, propriétaire PDG d'un hôtel qui a accueilli les officiels de la CAF et aussi l'équipe du Zimbabwe. Elle réclame au gouvernement camerounais l'intégralité de son argent.
What you're saying, they haven't paid his money. He had a contract with the government.
Yes, yeah, to launch during the just ended AFCON competition.
You see, it's just from one problem to another problem. When you enter, I understand in Cameroon, when you have a government contract, they take time to pay, as they call it, your bond. So it is not strange what is happening. They know the system when they go into the system. I don't understand how they draft contract in Cameroon when it comes to public contract. Normally in a civilized society, before you get into a contract, you talk about terms of payment, how you're going to pay, you draft all those things in your contract, and in case the government doesn't pay, you take it to a court of law. So, but you know, in Cameroon, the way they do things are not that straightforward. In normal contract, you should know what are his contract, what are the terms of payment or all those things. It should have been in the contract. But you know, when people want those contracts, they are afraid that if they want to do things,
Metro, yesterday,
give them the contract.
Yeah, Metro, yesterday we talked about some vehicles that reportedly disappeared, vehicles that were used to carry officials of the competition as well as the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. We were talking about those vehicles that have disappeared, and we're equally worried about the accounts or that have not so far or has not so far been presented to the public, how monies were managed. And today we have a hotel owner coming to complain about her money that has not been paid.
Mr. Lasha, when you say vehicles disappear, we know vehicles, they cannot disappear, they are not ghosts. The point is, when you hear about these things, the people who have done these things are the top people up there, so you cannot charge them. They are the people running the country. How do you get your money if somebody is a top minister? The people, we know them. When something, if it was just a common man, like ourselves on this platform, they will hunt us. But the people who have taken those things, we know them. They know themselves. They are the people running the country. How can you go and attack a person who has stolen the money? They know themselves. They know. And it is difficult to go and investigate the people who are running the country. They are the one, they know where the vehicles are. Vehicles are not ghosts.
Okay, thank you very much, Maitre. Thank you so much. We end with Mbane Evis. Your reaction on the issue of Monesti being owed Mami Nyanga, the owner of a popular hotel in Yaoundé.
Okay, I just got you asked, Maitre, if I'm talking about accounts that we've never had about how AFCON was run. I can begin by asking you, have you had an account on how the different states were constructed in Cameroon? Or have you had an account of the COVID money? It is just a system, and like Maitre rightly said, at one point in time when people come to complain, at times it is bizarre to hear, because when they go, we know the system and they understand, they will get contracts from the state, they know the type of country in which we are, and perhaps she might not have gotten her money, I don't know. Maybe because there are some clauses that were stated that she has not yet fulfilled. There is maybe someone who needs a certain percentage of what she needs to have before she gets her money paid. Maybe she's not being willing to comply at that level. So it is difficult, but unfortunately, that is the country in which we find ourselves. Nothing ever moves this country the way we expect it to move. There are people who have taken the